Good evening, everybody. This is Not So Big Nate checking in with y'all. I wanted to do this video tonight because I wanted to give a little bit more of a background story, give y'all a better idea of what drove me to make the lifestyle change that I currently am, because I feel like that's just as important as establishing where I am physically in the beginning of this journey. I wanted to give just a little bit more insight into what caused me to want to do better and be better. First, I want to give a shout out to Eric Howard. He's the one that made that awesome video intro. I did not even ask him to do that. He saw my first video, gave me some feedback, and just by his own accord came to me and was like, "Dude, I made this. What do you think?" And after just a few conversations back and forth, that was the uh, that was the finished product, and I was like super blown away by it. Did an awesome job. All the praise in the world, man. Like, one of the best friends that I have. Way awesome. Super talented. And thank you so much. So, back to why I decided to change my ways. And aside from the obvious, of course, just wanting to be generally healthier and stuff like that, one of the things that really springboarded this effort this time was because I went to my daughter's school the other day, because it's very common for me and Mrs. Farley to go into the school and help the teachers out. Doing things like laminating, making flashcards, tearing pages out of math books, and making all kinds of writing journals and just whatever cool stuff they have for us to do. It's not always cool. Laminating sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. So, um, so we went there, and I went into my daughter's classroom, and I got the materials to start making a bunch of flashcards. And I didn't really spend it more than just a minute or two in there. Honestly, I just grabbed the stuff from the teacher, and I left. Uh, and we went about our business, and went home. And then it really wasn't too long after that, my daughter came home from school, and she was talking about how a couple of the boys in her class were making fun of me because I was overweight. To her, they were telling her, they were like mocking me, apparently because I'm fat. Of course, like, that's easy to make fun of, right? So it hurt her feelings, that they were saying that about me, because she loves me and I love my baby girl, and that just didn't make her feel good. And I had to, this was like probably the first time that I had to explain to her that, when people do things like that, it's because they don't feel good about themselves. So it feels better to make fun of somebody else, because of their iniquities, you know. And she kind of understood, but she's just such a sweet soul that it was just hard for her to come to terms with the fact that somebody could be like that. And the reason why, like, obviously, I could not care less what an 8-year-old kid thinks about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that guy, that kid probably can't even weld. He probably never changed oil in a car, or you could probably ask him what 6 times 8 is. He couldn't even tell you 52. So, I mean, he an 8-year-old kid isn't gonna bother me. But at the same time, I didn't want that to happen, because I remember when my own mother used to come into school and volunteer, and it was really easy. My mother was always very big, a very large woman, and it was very easy for the other kids to do the exact same thing to me that they did to my daughter. And I remember how that felt, because even though it wasn't something that like I myself could control, it still was just that little bit of ammunition that, you know, a little snotty kid needs to make somebody else feel bad. And it made me feel bad because I did that. That's on me. I mean, is it right for those kids to act like that? Not at all. But it's also not fair to my daughter that that could have been that's something that could have been avoided. Now, I guess the only difference is, you know, I mean, as big as I am, I mean, my mother probably weighed about the exact same thing that I do now, and she, you know, was not built like me at all. So when I talk about my mother, I used to call her bird legs because she was so round, just like perfectly round up top basically, and then she had like these tiny little legs that you just couldn't hardly believe it supported the weight of her upper body. Um, and That was an easy target for kids, right? Because she kind of just reminded you of an ostrich. I mean, like if we're being just completely honest about it, my mother was the sweetest lady, but unfortunately, I've been too stupid to save my daughter from that kind of grief, apparently. So that was definitely a turning point in my life, because like I mentioned in the previous video, in my introductory video, I mentioned that like medically there isn't really anything wrong with me. I don't have high blood pressure. You know, um, I don't struggle with like cholesterol issues or a lot of the other things. Diabetes or a lot of the other things that are normal for people who are extremely overweight. That's not a problem that I have, but you know, eventually it will be. You know, but even all of that, it didn't hurt me as much as it did that I caused my daughter to have to deal with bullying because I'm fat. You know, it's just not fair to her, and it's also not fair in the long run. It's not fair that I could potentially be shortening my own life. I am shortening my own life, and I am depriving my daughter and son of years that they could have with me. You know, statistically speaking. So that was a big one, and I just hurt. I just hurt. It did. So I've got to do better. I've got to be better. And as a matter of fact, I soon I would like to start creating some merchandise and stuff like that to be able to sell, just to bring in a little bit of money to help with some of the costs and time that I put into making these cool little videos, and um, just so that maybe I can put the idea out there, or have a little bit of security, I guess, as far as copywriting a term. The catchphrase I like to go with for my channel is just trying to see my feet. It's simple, it's funny, and I think it would look good on any fat person, that's at the gym, and maybe like there's a bunch of skinny people that have already won the game that are there for whatever reason, and they see you coming, they're like, oh, look at that fat piece of crap, and then your shirt just says, hey, just trying to see my feet. So, uh, with that, Again, thank you to Eric Howard for the awesome intro. I'm in the process. Another one of my other buddies, Matt McCoy, is working on a logo for me, and I think y'all find that pretty funny as well. I think we had some good ideas, and he's really talented also. So until the next video comes around, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, share it. You can also find me. I'm on Instagram too now. Not So Big Nate. Same deal. And I'm just trying to see my feet. Have a good night, y'all.